You already know what day it is. It's hump day. And what better way to inch closer to the weekend than right here with your favorite program, Compas on the Beat. And there's a lot to discuss this week. But let's not bury the lead because the king, El Rey of burying people, struck again this past weekend. He puts the Undertaker to shame. He's so good at his job. Canelo Alvarez was Gilberto's latest victim, and he will rest in peace. Not even the king of boxing was able to defeat the Gilberto curse, and curse it is. Our so-called boxing expert said Dmitry Bivol, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, had no chance against Canelo. But Bivol proved the doubters wrong. And who he proved wrong was my favorite part. He proved Herbert wrong as always. I feel for Canelo, our Mexican hero, our paisa, our compa. But I tried warning y'all. I've been saying this since last season. Charger fans, you know it's real. The Gilberto curse is ever present. It has no jurisdiction, and it knows no difference between sports. It will find you. It will ruin you. But I've made my point. Let's see what this boxing expert has to say, along with my saint brother Fernando, for this episode of Compas on the Beat. The Compas will break down the Canelo-Bivol fight, and they'll get into a little UFC and also talk about WWE WrestleMania Backlash cards this weekend. And of course, we can't forget about the Chargers' newest addition, Kyle Van Noy and Bryce Callahan. We'll get into all of that. But first things first, don't forget to subscribe to Compas on the Beat on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. And feel free to give us likes, comments, reviews. Bury Gilberto in the comments. I have burners to do that. I have a great time. We have a great time in there. You can also do all of that on our Instagram account page. Now, don't forget to do that. And that's stuff out online because Dan and Dago said so. Okay, now it's time to get to the best damn podcast in the universe. All the way from South Bend, Indiana. Play the music, Nando!
Welcome to Compas on the Beat. I am Fernando Ramirez, South Bend Tribune reporter covering Notre Dame football. With me, as always, my co-host, my tag team partner, Gilbert Manzano, OC Registrar LA Daily News. What's up, bro?
What's up, Fernando? I'm going to speak in a low-tone voice because for us Mexicans, it's been hard. One of our fighters on Cinco de Mayo weekend lost on our holiday, our tradition. We run boxing, us Mexicans, and the pound-for-pound king fell on his throne. But we're here, Fernando. We're talking. We'll survive. Us Mexicans, we always come out on top.
Sí se puede.
Exactly.
So,
pero está bien.
Obviously, Gilbert is talking about Saul Canelo Alvarez losing to Dmitry Bivol. It was honestly, and this is just from a non-boxing stooge right here. This is my analysis. I had never seen Canelo be manhandled like that before. I mean, even in the Triple G fights, it looked right down the middle. It did look like maybe the first fight, obviously Triple G might have had the edge. Some people say, even against Floyd Mayweather. I mean, most of the time Floyd was just going for points. I thought when he boxed Canelo. Here, it just looked like Canelo was just getting manhandled left and right. Gilbert, I'm gonna let you. I want to hear from you. You're the boxing expert. I'm the boxing stooge. So I want to know from you what you saw.
Yeah, usually we have some banter back and forth, but we're right into it today, Fernando, talking boxing, and usually we go football. So it shows you the time of the month in the month in the calendar. So we're going boxing. And yeah, Fernando, you could say he was manhandled. He was dominated, and we saw that before in the Floyd Mayweather fight almost 10 years ago. But you kind of judged Canelo off of the pre-Mayweather and the post-Mayweather because he became a whole different boxer in the last 9 years. He got better and better. His skills developed. His cardio even got better. His combinations were on point. And everything I'm bringing up right now, I didn't see on Saturday. These things that he got better in the last 9 years, it wasn't there. Even like, coming forward, he couldn't do it. So, I have a bunch of thoughts. I'm going to just try to, come out with them. But, I'll say this, and I don't want to take anything away from Dimitri Bivol. And I was definitely wrong about Bivol. I wrote a story in the Orange County Register, a column saying, who's this guy? I don't think he has a chance. We're all talking about Triple G. And I'm thinking, Bivol, Triple G, that's boring. Get that out of here. And I was pushing for the other 2-fight deal he had offered, Jermall Charlo and David Benavidez. And I was like, that one sounds more appealing. That one sounds kind of sexier to me. And I think I finished the story saying, well, we'll see what happens. The contracts are signed. This is what's happening. Let's hope that Saturday will be memorable. And definitely it was memorable. Bivol left a lasting impression. And, I'll start with this. And maybe I'll say for sure I was wrong. I should have given Bivol a little more credit. And also I'm going to kick myself for not trusting my instincts and kind of my gut feeling, because I was basing a lot of Canelo's previous opponents. Like, he's fought some longer guys that are bigger, and I'm like, it's just another bigger guy that he's trying to show off that he could compete in higher weight classes. And I put Bivol in the Kalen Smith category, the Sergey Kovalev category, these bigger kind of guys. But I knew of Bivol. I knew Bivol was a good, skilled fighter. He was young, hungry, but I'm like, he's never been tested before. I didn't give him the benefit of the doubt, and he has no power, but he's very skilled. He knows how to use his body, and he comes forward. And I thought he was just another guy, but I definitely didn't think he was a 5-1 underdog. I think he was closer, maybe 3-1, but not enough to the point where I thought Canelo was going to lose. So I was surprised that he lost, but not surprised that Bivol did so well. And that's where I messed up as a boxing reporter. I didn't give Bivol enough attention or credit. I overlooked him because he hasn't fought anybody before, and I overlooked him because Canelo has fought bigger guys before. But saying all that, Fernando, it was good. It was good what Bivol did, but I wasn't left impressed. Again, I didn't see enough power. People say domination. I saw a guy who was just more active. Canelo was fatigued early on, wasn't throwing his combinations. We've seen combinations. You remember that the Triple G fights, these combinations were nasty, coming from everywhere, body shots, headshots, uppercuts. He didn't do any of that with Bivol. And yes, Bivol has the size that could be part of it, but he had no power. He was just active, nice jab, combinations and spurts. And people think who just saw the highlights that Bivol was, destroying this guy, but they were probably just seeing the highlights and spurts where Bivol had the combinations. But most of the time was just being active, coming forward, throwing the jab, scoring points, getting around here, around there. And then by round 10, it's like, oh, wow, Bivol's up 7 rounds, and the judges try to steal it from him because it was too close. 115, 113, all 3 cards, which is weird in boxing, all 3 judges. It was a not that close to me, but when you go to parties and people are always doing kind of like the eye test judging, I'm like, you don't get boxing. Like, it's scored round by round by round, not by who's doing the punishment, who is doing the knockdowns, who's destroying people, round by round by round. And Bivol won round by round, and it just felt boring, repetitive. But he did his job, did his work. Credit to Bivol. My bad for just overlooking him.
But honestly, Gilbert, I mean, Dan and Dago had something more to say in the opening, but I really don't think that it's, your fault. It's happened before. We've seen it before, like you said, and Canelo really he looked different. I didn't mean he got dominated. I just meant not manhandled. I guess I just said it was just interesting to see him so fatigued and so I don't know if he didn't look he didn't look the way he had looked in previous fights, all marked up and everything. He had looked a little bit kind of, I'm not going to go the Andy Ruiz route where I remember that one. That one, his trainer, somebody had told me, oh yeah, he lost. Because I remember leading up to his second fight with Joshua, I had talked to some of his people and they're like, yeah, he's lost about 25 pounds. And I'm like, I'm one of those people that plays around with my weight. I've lied about it. I'm like, that does not look like a guy who's lost weight. I'm like, he's looked like a guy who's gained weight. And I remember after they asked him at LAX, he's like, yeah, I've eaten maybe too many tacos and cervezas. I'm like, yeah, there you go. So if anybody knows out of shape, it's me. And I kind of saw not Canelo's out of shape, but he just didn't look the same as he had done previous times. So I don't know what it was. But the most interesting part to me was that after the fight, he said, I did enough to win this fight. And I'm like, I understand if maybe you like, yeah, you have to say that, but come on, like, and he doubled down on it. He even said it after the fight in the press conference, where, by the way, he was only taking questions in Spanish or answering in Spanish, which was pretty interesting to me. I saw somebody tweet about that. Canelo's only answering questions in Spanish, so I thought that was pretty funny. But I just thought it was so interesting that he said that, just because there was no way you could possibly think that you won, and then you double down on it. I'm like, dude, just take the L. Like, you took it. You took the L. I'll tell you one thing real quick before I turn it back to you. When they said 115 to 113, I said, crap, I'm like, there's no way they can give it to Canelo. Like, there's no, and I honestly thought they were gonna give the fight to Canelo and just be like, yeah, he won. And I was like, there's no way, but like, they did the honorable thing and they gave it to, which, I mean, Bivol had won it. But I'm glad that they didn't try and pull some Las Vegas magic and try to give it to Canelo.
You know what was funny? Because I've covered some of these fights and I've seen these robberies, especially in Las Vegas, and especially when Canelo's involved. And when the announcer said "and still," I was like, "Oh, he's getting robbed! He's getting robbed!" And I was like, I was gonna lose my mind. I was like, I forgot. Oh, Bivol was the champion,
and still undefeated. That's what they had said, and still undefeated.
Because then still was like, Canelo's a champion of the undisputed super middleweight, and I was thinking that, I'm like, oh wait, Bivol is the champion and light heavyweight. And that's how much we overlooked the guy, that he's a champion. And I like how Bivol was saying he was pretty funny, and like he was like, sorry, Eddie Hearn, I ruined your plans with Gennady Golovkin, Canelo 3. And he said, you know what, we could do the rematch, but you better treat me like a champion, pay me like a champion, act like I'm the one holding the belt over here. And nobody was acting like that way. So credit to Bivol. And the other thing, that comes to mind is the vegan diet. People are trying to figure out why did Canelo lose? Why did he look out of shape, fatigued? Did he overlook him? Did he get tired of winning so many years, 9 years in a row? And to kind of go vegan out of nowhere for this training camp, one tells me, hey, I could try around here. I could, maybe I'm not too worried about this guy here. So let's try this vegan diet for this training camp and let's see if I like it. That's what it felt like to me. I'm not saying that was the reason why he lost. I'm not no expert. I'm not no dietitian here. I don't know about nutrition. I don't know. But I feel like they kind of switch it up. And who knows? Maybe it was a contaminated meat that was helping out. We'll leave that there. But he changed the diet, and that was kind of strange. But one thing about this fight here, one thing I don't buy the notion that Dimitri Bivol was too big for him, that Canelo bit too much so he could chew. Yeah, he fought a better fighter. He fought a guy in his prime, a hungry guy. But I don't think he was too big for him. I think Canelo was still coming forward, and I know that Bivol was saying he messed up my arms because he couldn't kind of get around him to hit the body, hit the face. But I just didn't think Canelo was active enough. And I know it's a different weight class, but the combination you threw against Gennady Golovkin, those were coming from everywhere, and you didn't see that, like the creativity. He did it with Billy Joe Saunders. He did it with Kurt Kovalev. He usually doesn't start fast, and he's a little slow. Fatigue is there. I mean, cardio has never been the biggest thing for him, but he breaks you down with the combinations. It just it gets too much on people. He didn't really do that at all, and it felt like to me like this guy's kind of big. Let me just check out here. But what you're really gonna tell if Canelo really thinks that he didn't train enough or overlooked them is if he goes with the rematch, because he's kind of been going now back and forth. He's like, hey, you know what? Maybe super middleweight was my weight class, 168. I think I went too high, 175. If he says that and he doesn't do the rematch, that's when you know for sure he thinks he was too big for him. Because you can't do anything about that. The guy's too big. You can't train and get longer arms and get bigger.
Who was the one that said that Canelo should go up to that if he would have beaten this guy? He was thinking about going up to 200.
Yeah,
somebody had said that.
He was thinking about, I'll go cruiserweight. I'll go fight the heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk. And now we know that's too much, But I think 175 is fine for him. You can't go crazy. He was getting a little crazy. He got a little cocky, and that's part of it too. Like I think he overlooked them, and he didn't train hard enough for this fight. That's my guess. But if they do have the rematch, it's gonna be tough to who will give the fight. I think who would I think will win the fight. I think I saw some odds already that Bivol is a favorite. I don't know. It's gonna be tough, but we'll see what Canelo decides to do for the next fight. It's gonna be very telling. If he believes he has a chance to beat him, he's gonna take that rematch. If he thinks he's too big, he goes and fight Gennady Golovkin in September.
So let me ask you right now, what's your prediction? Does he fight Gennady Golovkin or does he go for the rematch?
I think he's a guy of pride. He kept saying he likes challenges. And one thing I wrote about, in my column that I got really wrong was, he wants to fight for legacy. And the way you fight for legacy is you find opponents who aren't your level and you brawl it out, and you have these memorable wars that people think about for years to come. And when you talk about Canelo, all you can talk about for that kind of category of memorable fights, Triple G twice, that's it. Nothing else comes to mind. So if you want a guy to make your legacy, to improve your legacy, Bivol's a guy because he beat you. You go back in there and you have a little brawl there and you win that one. That goes a long way. I know people love the Mayweather undefeated thing, but in boxing is about coming back, picking yourself up and fighting guys that are supposed to be better than you. And it becomes a ring war, a brawl, a nice knockout. That's all better for him. So I think at the end of the day, people are going to forget this Bivol loss if he comes back and beats him.
So obviously, I don't know how long these lists happened, for how long Canelo had been on the list, but the new pound for pound rankings just came out, and I think
they're all very subjective. People have all different kinds, but
Chris Maddox isn't the most, but this is Chris Maddox's pound for pound rankings right now. He has Terrence Crawford number 1, Canelo Alvarez 2, that guy number 3. Okay, Earl Spence 5, Tyson Fury 6, and Bivol 10. So Gilbert, when you see this, what do you think?
I'll start with Bivol. I know the thing about pound for pound ranking is what have you done for me lately? Who's fought recently? What's kind of been your memory? What's at the forefront? And Bivol obviously broke top 10 because of what he did.
But you can't just balloon him up to like 3. Like it's a good place for him to start number 10.
No, but I think with Bivol was like he had skill, and it was like he's never fought anybody. Now he has that on his resume with Canelo, so 10 looks nice for him.
You have to add.
But the funny part is like with the number 1 guy, Terrence Crawford, the thing with the pound for pound rankings is that because they can't fight each other because they're all different weight classes, is kind of just judging who has the best skills, who's the best pound for pound. And when you look at fighters, if you're a boxing fan, nobody does that better in terms of skill than Terrence Crawford, who's number 1. But he's lacking the big fights resume. He's lacking the quality opponents, and it's kind of like, are we sure here that he's never been tested? Like with Bivol, at least we know he's been tested. Number 5, Errol Spence. He's not as pretty as Terrence Crawford, but he's fought a lot of good opponents, and he's a brawler. But he's gonna break you down.
Are you okay with the switching of Terrence Crawford and Canelo, even though Crawford hasn't really beat anybody?
That's why I feel a little off, because like if you're going based on skills and who does boxing the prettiest, it's Terrence Crawford. He's for sure number 1, because Canelo was also a really skillful fighter, but he had the resume to back it up, the opponents. That's why he was for sure number 1. But now it's like, are we gonna give it to Crawford? He doesn't have like Usyk has a quality win against Anthony Joshua. He was a cruiserweight champion. A guy we need to give credit more at number 6. Your guy Tyson Fury. He's boxed a lot of quality opponents: Klitschko's, Deontay Wilder, Dylan White, and he's the champion. He should be higher, and he's the most skilled fighter at heavyweight. It looks kind of awkward because he's like 6'9", but
look at the comment all the way at the right hand side at the bottom.
I stopped reading. Okay, yeah, it's strange, but I think maybe I'm gonna say 1. I don't mind Terrence Crawford because yes, nobody can compare him because this guy could beat you southpaw, righty, like. He has defense, power. He's nasty.
His next fight is against Earl Spence, right?
Not yet. No. They're trying to make it. So
okay.
But if we're just gonna go skill, I guess Crawford's fine with me. But I really think that Spence should be higher. I think Tyson Fury should be higher.
Should be top 3. Like
what he's done.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. It wouldn't be at the end of the world if Canelo went down a little lower. Like you bump up Spence and Fury, and then put Canelo somewhere there. But. This is kind of the way with these pound for pound rankings. People always have different opinions. So I don't have an issue with Terrence Crawford. I just wish he had a better resume. And let's just, break it down between Crawford and Spence, and the winner of that fight becomes number 1.
It's crazy the way that like with boxing, one loss can really like mess you up. Like in the NBA, like we all know LeBron's lost 6 championships and won 4 of them, but like his legacy is still, he's one of the best of all time. In boxing, like you lose 1 time and you're like knocked down the totem pole. And Canelo's taking a beating because I mean some people are like, he thinks and he's getting it from all sides, Gilbert. Like some Mexicans are pissed off at him. Some people are like, oh, he tried to be Floyd Mayweather. Look at you. You can't hang with Floyd. But I'll give Canelo credit. He fights more people in their prime. Like Floyd Mayweather should have given us him against Pacquiao way earlier than he should have, but he waited until the end when Pacquiao was basically done with it. So I knock him for that. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what Canelo chooses to do in September. I honestly feel like he should go with the Rocky 3 mantra and try and fight Bivol again. And if you just can't get past him, I mean, hell, at least you tried.
Yeah,
at least you tried to do it again, and you tried. You said Canelo went vegan?
Yeah, he went vegan for this training camp, so I don't know.
I wonder how, because I remember when Isaac Rochelle went vegan a couple of years ago, and I asked him, was there a huge difference? Like, well, you have to train differently. Why? Like, I never understand why you would change something before, like, you're about to go do, like, you know how like your body's so and especially Canelo, who's fought over numerous like over 40 times, his body's so used to everything. Why would you just like change it up right before?
It's weird because I think one of the Mexican reporters asked him, like, why now? And he was saying, oh, like, PETA kept saying that, like, to avoid this fiasco again, the contaminated carne asada meat, to trigger a positive test, just go vegan. Just stop messing with the meat and go vegan. And he said that I don't know where he just said, you know what? I don't want to get a positive test 4 years later, which is weird. So I don't know. I'm not gonna point the fingers at anybody, but it just sounds very weird that he decided to say, hey, let's go vegan now. But yeah, that way you avoid positive tests. But I don't know what happened in the last 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, this is strange, but Gilbert, I don't know if, I mean, obviously, like, this is the team that gets crowned usually. Like you've said it before, they get crowned during the offseason. That they're the team to beat. They're a team with, like, people hype the Chargers up before the season starts, and then things happen during the season. But this seems like a different direction for the Chargers. They last week, I mean, obviously every time after we record Compas, something always happens with them, and they add new additions. Last week they went, and I mean, we had talked about it, that they still were a little bit weak at the linebacker. What were they going to do with pass rush, the right tackle position? Which, well, we'll get into the right tackle position later, but they added Bryce Callahan from the Denver Broncos. He's been in the Vic Fangio system. He's been in the Brandon Staley system for years now. He's probably one of the poster children for it because he's been in it for so long. And they added Kyle Van Noy, which Kyle Van Noy to me was so interesting because, Gilbert, I don't know if you remember, but a couple of years ago in 2020, they decided to go after free agents that were Super Bowl champions. They went after Chris Harris Jr., Linval Joseph. I can't remember the Brian Bulaga. They decided to go that route. Older veterans who had rings. The Linval Joseph panned out. I think that Chris Harris Jr., maybe from the leadership aspect, it might have worked out a little bit, but then obviously Brian Bulaga, we know.
By the way, all three of those guys are free agents currently. Yep. That kind of tells you everything.
Yeah, so that's everything you need to know. But they add Kyle Van Noy, who brings that leadership, that pedigree, and it's unique for him because he's never been in this system. He's either been in he was in the Detroit Lions system with oh my God, he used to be the Colts head coach, and now he's out of the NFL. Yeah, Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell, and then he went to he got traded to the Patriots, where he blew up. I remember he was a second round pick. A lot was made about him coming out of BYU, but people were a little unsure about him. And people were like, oh, there he goes. He's lost in Detroit now. Goes to the Patriots, makes a name for himself, becomes a good player. Then he goes down to Miami after, I think, like 10 or 12 games. They cut him. Goes back to New England. And obviously, he's been in that Bill Belichick system for the last almost 8 to 9 years. And now he comes to the Charger system. Gilbert, what do you make about of these moves? And I honestly thought both of them are very positive. The Callahan one, the only thing that concerns me is the injury history that he's had. But hey, everybody's due one season where they could possibly be healthy for the whole thing. But I really like both of the moves. I thought that both of the moves tell you, obviously, that the Chargers are cognizant that they do have still they had some holes, and now they've kind of patched them up. But what do you think about both of these moves?
Yeah,
and what's being
yeah.
said around the building.
Yeah, I think they had a good approach this time around. Like you mentioned, that 2020 free agency class, older guys, veteran guys. For this free agency, guys in their 20s, guys in their prime, J.C. Jackson, guys like that don't get away easily. I know they're unknown names, but Austin Johnson and Sebastian Joseph Day, they're guys that are in their prime who could maybe pan out. They went upside, so they got younger in free agency, and I really like that. There's talent and they're younger. And then you kind of go with the best player available approach in the draft. So you're not reaching for needs. And they did that. And that's why when they're like, okay, we might not fill some needs here, but we see some veterans over here that we might like, and they're going to be available after the draft. So let's go with the best players available. And that's how you build talent. That's how you kind of land stars. And they went that route. And then now it becomes okay. Now it becomes more like it's depth. Like they need depth at these positions because they're not like big needs anymore because of what they did in free agency and the draft. Now it's like, well, you need a third pass rusher behind Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. We got J.C. Jackson, but what if an injury happens again, and then all of a sudden Tavon Campbell comes out? So that's the way the Chargers were approaching, and they need depth. And people are always like, why they get so many DBs and this and that with Bryce Callahan and Fernando? You could remind them, of what happened last year when they were banged up. Not just the corners. Asante was out. And what was that, a fly?
Yeah, they had a couple of weeks where in that November, that backstretch where they really fell
even
off.
Derwin James was out a couple games.
They had no Derwin. They had no Derwin James. They had no Asante Samuel. And they had no Michael Davis.
Yeah, so and we saw how bad they got on third down. They couldn't get off the field, and you have your stud quarterback on the sideline watching this team over and over and give up third down. So that's what they got Bryce Callahan. Now the Cowboy Noy one, I'm intrigued by it because they're lacking depth at pass rusher and inside linebacker, and Cowboy Noy could do a little bit of both. And he's a Super Bowl champion. I like how every time he's doing these interviews, the first thing he brings up, I'm a Super Bowl champion. I'm bringing this pedigree of championship level to this program here. Program. I think I'm hanging out with you guys too much. You and your brother. Yeah, program. There you go. But yeah, he was bringing these championships, so that's kind of big. And yeah, he's a little older in his 30s, but it wasn't like you spent a lot of money in the first part of free agency to get him. It's like, hey, Kyle, we want to team up with you at the end. And he wanted to go there, and it worked out. And there was a hole there because you had Chris Rump the second, but you haven't seen much from him. He was a rookie. Maybe he does something this year. And then you kind of had Jerry Tiller playing that hybrid role of being an edge rusher, whatever, defensive tackle. And as you know, Fernando, that's not going to get it done either. So to get Kyle Van Noy there, and like you mentioned, Fernando, those third downs, fourth downs with the three edge rushers, Mack, Bosa, and Van Noy, and then one of the nose tackles up top. That's a nice little pressure there for the Chargers to have. So I like it. And in terms of the hype thing, it's always weird because I've covered this team long enough now to know about the Chargers hype, and Fernando better than all of us because you've been around this team, you grew up around this organization. But yeah, it's always like, look at those Chargers, man. Like in March, April, May, they're good. Like let's pick them for the playoffs. Let's make them contenders, and then injuries happen, one score losses, missed field goals. What? Come on, Fernando.
Yeah.
For the Chargers, and
what?
I think I'm finally gonna say there's a new coach, and Brandon Staley. They have a really good quarterback and Justin Herbert. They're building an offensive line. I think I'm ready to go in, Fernando. I'm buying the offseason hype. I think this team is legit. I am concerned about the right tackle when you're facing, Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, all the edge rushers and the AFC West.
It feels like a Trey Pipkins at right tackle kind of.
I don't know. It could be Storm Norton. But the thing about this now, Fernando, I'll let you segue after this because in years past, I said it a week ago. In years past, this time of year when there's players available or get cut or trade rumors, I ignore them. Like no way the Chargers are gonna get these guys after April. They're done. They're gonna settle here. It's over. And I told you a week ago, expect Trey Pipkins, expect Storm Norton to battle it out at right tackle. You know this team. What happens an hour or two later? Kyle Van Noy, they get Bryce Callahan. They're not settling for now. They're going for guys. So I wouldn't be surprised to go get a tackle now in a trade. Somebody gets cut, a free agent, because they need a tackle. And also the other thing too, a speedy wide receiver. And I was actually looking at who's out there. Maybe too many red flags, but Will Fuller is still out there.
He gets hurt a lot. The one that I was thinking, Deshaun Jackson. I know he's up there in age, but like to take the top off of a defense once or twice wouldn't. I mean, you play him a couple of times and he'll take the top off of the defense for you. And I mean, he's kind of, but I mean, I understand why they wouldn't, because he'd probably be like, when you activate a guy, you want him to be able to do a lot of different things, and Deshaun's not going to be able to do anything but go down the field and go long for you. So I understand why, but it does feel like this might be a Trey Pipkins. But I agree with you. They could potentially June 1st is a date to watch, because that's when some of these bonuses are owed and stuff like that. And some guys get cut. And I if a tackle gets cut, I'm pretty sure the Chargers will try and go after them if it's a good tackle, and obviously if the price is right, just because you kind of feel like they're that right tackle away from really being there. And especially with all the pass rushers in this division, let alone in the NFL, in the division, you're going to need a right tackle, because if not, they're just going to line the guys up on that right tackle and be like, hey, go up against Storm Norton again and do this and do that. But I really like both of the moves. You know what I was thinking about, Gilbert? And I mean, obviously I'm on the Notre Dame beat, but there's nothing going on right now. So sometimes I do kind of think about like what's going on with around the NFL and stuff. And I was thinking about the Chargers, and I was thinking about everybody's like, oh, Michael Davis is probably going to get benched. I don't think so. There's a part of me that thinks that he's going to be maybe like a star and money kind of like, not star and money, because that's literally what Derwin plays. There's a part of me that thinks that they could potentially put him on a tight end, on somebody like that, on a big receiver, and maybe use them in different ways that maybe they haven't. Maybe they're like, you know what, let's do Asante Samuel, Bryce Callahan, and let's do JC Jackson, but let's have Michael Davis do something else to where we can use his speed, his size against somebody else. And I think people are kind of writing him off in a sense. I know he's going to be making $9 million next year. I get it. But at the same time, I think there's going to be a role for him in this defense. And I know the Chargers haven't said it much, but I really do think that there's going to be some kind of role like that for him, where they probably use him as like a positionless guy who does different things. That's just my opinion, to free up Derwin to do more of what he does. Man, can you imagine if you had Kyle Van Noy, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Sebastian Joseph Day, or Austin Johnson, and Derwin James rushing the quarterback? That quarterback's gonna be in hell. But definitely that's what I think.
That's what they were missing. And you go like, yeah, like you always heard Brandon say like, man, we're staying afloat because of Derwin James, covering a leak over here and a leak over there. And a lot of these
Cowboys game. That's the only reason why they lost that Cowboys game. They had to put him on that kid that went to the Dolphins, Wilson, Cedric Wilson. They had to put Derwin on Cedric Wilson the whole game, and that's what took away from Derwin being able to help against Ezekiel, against some of these other guys.
It was like that all year, and that's why like the big impact plays weren't there, like the rookie year where he had the sacks and the interception and all that, the big hits. But yeah,
and good friend of the show. He's a compa. Derwin is a compa, but he did drop a couple of
he could have had more
interceptions.
But he was
honestly, I think I saw he could have had 6.
So that would have been nice for him, but he still made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. No, yeah.
But he was needed in coverage, and now he could do all those things with these guys, and more on the cornerback roles to kind of figure out. First of all, the more corners, the better. That's fine. You can figure out the roles later,
and that's what this defense is. That's what Brandon,
you're gonna have like 6 DBs on the field, so it's gonna be fine. And I'll say, just to kind of put it in simple terms, base defense, I think it's gonna be Asante and JC Jackson. But base is going to be rarely played with all these DBs, and maybe it's going to be one linebacker. We're talking about the linebackers, it's probably one linebacker a lot of the time. So if they have the two, when I say linebacker, inside linebacker, we got to keep it clear here with the 3-4 or the Brandon Staley. So 2 insides, and then it'll be JC and Asante. But then they go with the nickel. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Asante goes to the inside, and then you have Michael Davis play the outside. He's comfortable playing the outside. But also it could be what you're saying. Michael Davis could be a hybrid inside-outside guy. And I could definitely see Bryce Callahan being a lot of slot guys. So it could be maybe Asante and Bryce splitting time inside, and then having Michael Davis be part of the outside rotation. But again, roles don't matter right now. They'll figure it out. Who's better at what. So they have, I just mentioned 4 quality guys right there that can play versatile. And then for sure, you got the number 1 outside in JC Jackson. So good problem to have for the Chargers.
Yeah, no, 100%. But Gilbert, now we move on to. I have to show you this before we get started with our UFC recap. I don't know if you saw this video. This is the funniest thing I've seen. Where is it? It is. You're gonna get a kick out of this. I don't know if you've seen it. Hold on, let me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Go. I'm out. Go. Oh my God. Oh shit.
Boom.
Oh shit.
Explain to our audio listeners, Fernando.
So basically, this girl says, "I'm like they're at UFC 274 in Arizona, and she's like, I'm about to run and get into the ring or whatever," and she runs up and she tries to jump into the ring, and the security guard just launches her, out of trying to get into the stage, and her friends are still recording and they're laughing hysterically like hyenas. But Gilbert, you can even watch right here. She's arrested or whatever, and she's walking out.
I don't even know what she says at the beginning of the video. She's like, and then goes.
I think she was drunk, but
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. But she the whole video is just ridiculous. But my question is
damn, that's a lineman right there. That security guard.
Oh, 100%. My question though is what is going are fans just delusional and crazy? Ever since we came back from being locked out on lockdown and everything, it seems like fans you heard about the whole Chris Paul thing, that these fans wanted to hug his mom and they were like, no, don't hug us, leave us alone. And then Chris oh, I'll catch you again. By the way, that idea that Charles Barkley had after the game, there's no suing, no nothing, just 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes with that person and let's see what happens. I'll tell you one thing. I thought it was a little bit blown out of proportion what happened because Chris Paul is kind of an animated guy and he's really out there sometimes. So I didn't know how bad it was. But then when I heard unwanted hugs, I'm like, okay, get out of the person's space, leave them alone. Just why do you have to engage with them? And I've always thought that they should always put the family, put the family in a section where they're away from fans, just because you don't want a Brittany Mahomes situation where they're talking to the fans and then fans are chirping back and everything. So, but this video, dude, is just she just gets launched out of there. So I
wonder what the fine is or the jail time or what happens after. What are the consequences for doing this?
I'm sure you get banned. But I think the fine isn't that bad. I think it's $500. There's no way, because these people wouldn't be doing it if it was that expensive. Well, I mean, people are just
some of
dumb.
these kids have money, man. You can tell.
Some of these people are dumb. So, but yeah, that was just that was a pretty funny. What was not funny though was, hold on, let me get that for you, Gilbert. It was just I'll tell you one thing. I thought the card was going to be really good. The only thing that I wasn't a fan of was some of the fights, like the Ferguson Michael Chandler fight. That thing was freaking nuts. I don't know how, how can you put into words this, Gilbert?
Yeah, that kick does not look the Chandler kick to Ferguson. He changed his whole face. He got him deformed looking. I don't know what's going on with Ferguson's face, but that was a nasty kick. These are kind of rare to what do they call them? Or what did McGregor call it? The punt kick,
the punt knockout. Yeah.
So it looked like you're punting there. So yeah. And by the way, shout out to the photographer Hans. He works at my newspaper. He covers a lot. And when you saw this picture go viral, I knew he wasn't gonna get credit for it, so I wanted to make sure that we gave him credit. Hans here, that was his picture. That was a sick kick and a good picture by Hans.
What's funny about that? And congratulations to Hans. That's a great picture. Ferguson was winning the fight in the first round. I remember I was watching it and Ferguson was leading it. And then all of a sudden, Chandler he said it on the Pat McAfee show that, he saw that Ferguson had kind of dropped his hands. He's like, I had practiced like the punting at the beginning of like camp and stuff, but I hadn't really used it. And he's like, I saw him drop his hands, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go for a kick. He's like, I go for the kick, it lands, and he just falls straight forward. And I was like, oh crap. Okay, it freaking landed. Like, we got it. So I thought it was a really good fight between Chandler, and it's funny because Chandler after goes, I'm ready to fight whoever, like give me whoever. He calls out like 3 or 4 people, and then he says, hell, if Dana White wants to get it wrong, then I'll fight Conor McGregor. Conor, come back. I know you need to fight somebody. We'll put asses in seats. And that's pretty. I just think it's so funny, Gilbert, that Conor's been through this whole losing streak and he hasn't been as good as he used to be, but people still want to fight him because they know that it's going to put asses in seats, money in their pockets, and they know that he's still the cash cow of the UFC.
That actually be a good matchup for Conor if he wants to get a win, especially a kind of the styles, 2 brawlers, and
that'd be fun to watch.
A guy who won't really try to take you down too much, and that's what Conor McGregor needs. And by the way, with the whole Ferguson McGregor feud, I think Ferguson was kind of throwing some shade at Conor during his losses. So when this came up for Conor McGregor, he ran with it. He took the picture from Hans and started making fun of Ferguson, calling him because I think Ferguson calls Conor McNuggets. So he kept saying, I'm gonna go get some nuggets and enjoy this. And
did you see his tweet later or no?
Yeah, where he was trying to call Google or like, hey,
Google, is there a McDonald's open in San Tropez? He's like, my bad, that was meant for Google, not for Twitter. I was like, that's
I like how he just owned it too. It was funny. So how does that even work? Like he has like his Google on voice command and he could tweet at the same time?
I guess so. I don't know how that works. I mean, technology,
yeah,
or maybe he has an Alexa or one of those Google Home things.
Can you tweet?
Maybe, I don't know.
That was hilarious to me. But the thing about Tony Ferguson, it kind of sucks for him because at one point he was viewed as one of the top fighters, especially in his division, the lightweight, and now he's on an epic losing streak. He keeps changing trainers, and he's one of these guys that kind of stubborn. And Conor McGregor called him out, like he doesn't look in the mirror, and McGregor could be like that too, but. When he keeps doing things wrong, or when things don't go his way in a fight, he changes trainer or he blames other people. I think at some point you gotta blame yourself. Whatever he's not doing is not working, or maybe it's time to retire because he went through a peak and now he's really falling off pretty big. And Chandler is kind of on the way up. He had a loss earlier in the UFC, but I wouldn't mind seeing him fight against McGregor.
It's funny. Chandler was, like I said, on the Pat McAfee show. He had sunglasses on. And Pat asked him, like, oh, how are you doing? And then he like puts up the sunglasses and he has a black eye. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he's like, that happened. Like Ferguson got me good on one of those and my eye started shutting. And my trainer was like, hey, dude, you better get on it. Cause they could, if your eye completely shuts, like they might get on us for it. So basically they just, they were quick. He knocked him out. I was honestly worried for Ferguson cause I didn't see him move at one point. And I was kind of like, it kind of felt like the Manny Pacquiao knockout where Juan Manuel Marquez hits him and then he just falls to the ground. And you know how they did the whole Simba thing? Like, dad, wake up. Like, I thought the same thing for Ferguson. I'm like, dude, he's not moving. Like, he is not doing, and Chandler's over here doing backflips, getting on the cage and everything. By the way, congratulations to his wife. And he, I think they just adopted a second son. So congratulations to them. I know his other son was there with him in the ring, and I think they just adopted a newborn. So congratulations to them.
Okay.
For that. That's actually pretty cool.
I was gonna say, but by the way, you went 37 minutes plus of not mentioning Pat McAfee. You did it. Congrats to you, Fernando. It took you a little longer.
Well, he was on the show, so I was going to mention that.
But
by the way, you know what I did not mention? I forgot this. Well, no, it's over now. But go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't know if you saw the video after Ferguson left the cage. A very drunk Chuck Liddell, the Iceman, went to go talk to Ferguson, saying like in a drunk. You know when the Theo talks to you when he's all drunk and trying to give you advice. He's trying to pick him up and like you and I, my house. We'll have a cold one, like a really, really cold one, and then smacks him in the head. And I'm like, dude, just got hit in the face with a foot. He's probably concussed, and you smack him in the back of the head. And then like you could tell in the video, Ferguson was like, "Who's this guy talking to me?" Like he still was out of it, so it was kind of a awkward video. But Chuck was trying to give some words of encouragement, and it went the whole wrong approach.
That's crazy, Gilbert. I need to ask you about the Thug Rose and the Thug Rose and Carla Esparza fight. And obviously she's like, people are like, oh, she should fire her coach. Her coach is her husband. She's not going to do that. But don't you think it was his job to kind of tell her like, hey, I think we're down. Like, you got to pick it up. And I felt so bad because Daniel Cormier, Dr. Cormier and the guys were just like, they were Joe Rogan. They were all kind of like bashing the fight, and deservedly so. They deserve to get bashed. I don't know if you watched it, Gilbert, but they were just not doing anything. They were running around the ring. They would try and shoot. They wouldn't. Anytime Esparza would shoot, I'll give her credit, Rose would get out of it. She would not let her get on her, but you would think, and it was a bad fight. Even our good friend Adam Hill had had Dana White's reaction to the fight, which I'm sure it'll get a good chuckle out of you. He says Dana White's on his thoughts about the scoring of the Namajunas and the Esparza fight. I don't know. I zoned out about halfway through it.
I saw that tweet, and I think it was because I thought it was because he was watching Canelo fight again, because that was during the Canelo fight. That's why I missed that one. I was like, I'm done with this one here, this UFC, to watch the Canelo fight. But I guess it meant because the fight was really boring.
It was dude. It was bad. Like, it was just bad. And then obviously I thought Thug Rose had won because I thought she had done enough, but they didn't give her the belt. And I'm like, whoa, like, what is going on? And they gave it to Esparza, and I'm kind of like, I get it, but it was just a bad fight all around. They were just, like, literally, Gilbert, they were just circling. Like, they would do one thing here, one thing there, nothing, no big blows, no nothing. Esparza, I think, is supposed to get married next weekend. Her face is clear. She's going to be fine. There was there was nothing wrong with her. So now I think she said she's going to wear the belt walking down the aisle when she gets married. So I don't know if it was because of her wedding that she got the belt, but yeah, it was just a weird, strange fight.
And I think Esparza is beating her twice now, right?
Yeah, Rose, it's twice. So supposedly they're going to do the third fight. I think she's going to activate her.
Well, she has a rematch clause. Okay, I was going to say, who wants to watch it after a boring fight? But I'll say this about the trainer you mentioned, for Alex. I didn't watch the fight, but yeah, her trainer is her husband. Sometimes they have people who are so loyal to you or care about you so much in your corner, and they can't take away the Homer glasses or the biasness, and they're like, hey, you're winning, don't worry. That fails you when you're in a close fight, because the guy can't separate who's actually winning. So if the husband was more kind of like, less biased, he can be like, hey, you're down, man, pick it up, get some fights, get a knockout, you need something big here. So that's kind of the issue when you go into the octagon with some family.
I agree with you. Let me ask you something. With the Oliveira thing, everybody keeps on talking about the scale that it might have gotten tampered with.
Yeah.
What is that whole thing about? Like, what can you explain that to
me? They don't use like digital scales. They use the measuring thing.
Really?
They have like a person and move it like, okay, let's move it here, let's move it there. And that's why it's so strange. Like, I never ever seen somebody lose a belt off of half a pound. Because you could maybe just move it a little way that way and move it this way and you'll make it work. But usually it's like 2 pounds over, and it's like, okay, you can't do anything to help you here. So it sucks that he lost the belt off of half a pound, but I think they gave him some time to try to lose it, and he couldn't do it, which is strange. How do you not lose half a pound like in an hour or so?
Yeah.
Go run or whatever. I don't know what he had to do, but he couldn't do it, and it sucks. But also, make the weight. You gotta train a little more harder. And it sucks because Charles Oliveira proved once again he is, the best.
Oh, that was a good fight.
And the submission's crazy. I saw the choke he had on Gaethje. And that's why these guys are champions, because the guys who are brawlers, they do well, they knock you out, and they're fun, they're exciting, but they're not able to become champions or hold the belt because they're so streaky. Guys like Charles Oliveira, who do a little bit of everything, they hold belts, they dominate divisions. I wasn't surprised. They just kind of left a sour taste. They doesn't have the belt right now. So I wonder what happened, because now Conor McGregor is trying to fight for that vacant belt. He's like, he can't beat Charles Oliveira. Let's go get the belt.
Yeah, Oliveira, I think, even called out McGregor and said, hey, if you want to fight for this belt, I'm down to fight you. And I'm like, whoa. Can
you do that, though, after you vacate it? Like, can you still fight for the belt even though you don't own it?
I think Rogan said, or Cormier, one of them said that the next championship fight is going to be Oliveira against whoever he has to go up against. He
won't have it, but he will get to fight for it.
Yeah. So he can fight for it. And then it won't be a vacant, it'll be his. But that's why I'm wondering. Oh, and then Chandler also on the Pat McAfee show said that him and Nate Diaz could be the next fight also, because Nate Diaz, I guess, challenged him on Twitter, so that was pretty interesting.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so it's just funny to see everybody go at Conor. Everybody calls out Conor to try and fight Conor, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
It's like Canelo in boxing; they all want the cash.
Yeah, exactly. But Gilbert, last but not least, WWE WrestleMania Backlash, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting pay-per-view. I thought it was going to be a lot worse than what it was. I was very on the fence about it, but I got to show you real quick. This little 12-year-old, the night before they were in Trenton, and your tribal chief got into it with a 12-year-old. And
Where's
it was
Trenton, by the way.
Trenton, New Jersey, I think.
Oh,
but watch this kid. Hold on.
Here we go. Get him, Rock. Drew's gonna beat you going down. Yeah.
He hates that kid. I'm guessing this one wasn't. Was it during Backlash?
Yeah, this was at a house show in Trenton.
I was gonna say, usually the ones that are not televised, you get some stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
He has Drew McIntyre in a chokehold, and he's looking straight at this kid while he does. That was honestly comedy, and it's funny because obviously we talk about how some people are going at fans and stuff. Man, I guess I don't see those.
That wasn't bad.
I don't see those crazy fans as like a problem, the way, because I'm a WWE fan, I guess, that I don't see it as like, oh, the basketball fans cursing at dude. There, so one year he had beaten the Undertaker at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns did, for 10 straight minutes. The fans went, F you, Roman, like for 10 straight minutes. F you, Roman. Like,
yeah, but that's like verbal. Like they're so far away. Like they're not in your face. Like
you just saw the kids in it.
Yeah, but that one's it was borderline, but I like it because Roman was playing it up. Like,
yeah. But that's what I'm telling you. Like
his family's not involved. He's not passing the line.
I understand, but no, and I'm not talking about Chris Paul. I'm talking about in general. Like some people were like, "Oh, fans are too aggressive."
Well, by the way, like all that stuff is not just happening in sports. Remember Dave Chappelle last week with the
the guy
tackle him? Like it's happening.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking more about sports, just because like the guy, like some people, like the girl rushing the stage. I get it.
Oh,
but
that's another one.
Some people are like, "Oh, there's too much cursing going on between
that's fine.
the fans against the players. You should never curse." I'm like, dude, in WWE, like the wrestlers even play up to it, which I like. I like that the wrestlers are like, oh, bye-bye, this and that and that, or talking crap back. So I thought that was pretty funny. I thought that was creative between the kid and when
that's your heel side, Fernando. You're heel Nando there.
No, but I just feel like me watching wrestling, I've never seen that as an issue. Hell, there was a fan one time that grabbed his steel chair, jumped over the barricade, and tried to hit somebody, and like they had to stop him and everything. There's fans that have rushed. I understand those, but I'm talking about the fans that are just like going back and forth with wrestlers. I find it funny, and I feel like more NBA players, I know they're all like juiced up and everything, juiced up off of playing and their adrenaline's rushing, but sometimes you just got to play off of it and be like, oh yeah, I'm here. Because like Draymond's one of the biggest like trash talkers, and he'll say stuff, and I think that's funny. I think it's funny when Draymond does his little antics and other players do antics, but I'm like, just play it up, like piss them off even more, like do more of that stuff, just to like be like, yeah, let me hear it more, give me more. Like you'll piss them off more doing that than you will like bitching about it in your press conference after the game.
Especially the Draymond thing is like, yeah, I give you double birds. I don't care if I get fined. I make $25 million a year.
A bird, like who cares? Like that's funny. It compels me to watch a little bit more.
All right, bro. Give me one of your fights here in this.
Going back to Backlash, the Roman Reigns and the Bloodline and the Usos versus Drew McIntyre and RK Bro. Great match. I thought it was fantastic. You never get a 6-man tag team at a pay-per-view and think, oh, this is going to be good. This one was fantastic. Everyone shined. Everyone did what they needed to do. At the end, your tribal chief got the win. He pinned, I think he pinned, I can't remember his name right now. For some reason, I just, Riddle. He pinned Riddle. It was a good match. I'm going to give credit right now where credit's due. Charlotte Flair against Ronda Rousey. The storyline has been terrible. Ronda can't speak on the mic, but what Ronda can do in the ring is very good. I just think that her personality, I think they need to put her with Paul Heyman, have Paul Heyman speak for her. Don't have her touch the damn microphone. In one of those, Pat McAfee says, Ronda grabs a microphone and he's like, is she going to cut a promo? I mean, like, it'd be the first one in her life that she could cut because she can't do it. And, but like, she needs somebody. She needs a mouthpiece for her. WWE, if you're listening, I'll be her mouthpiece. I'll do it for her. I can do it. Put me in the game. But she needs a mouthpiece. It can't just be her doing it because it's not believable. Fans are kind of booing her at times, and she's supposed to be the babyface. But the match was really good. I thought it was a fantastic match. They were aggressive. They were doing everything that they needed to do. So I liked that match. And then obviously the last match that I'm going to give credit to, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, another very good match. The only thing I did not like was that, I mean, and I know Cody shouldn't be losing a month into being back in WWE because that wouldn't look good. But Seth Rollins has been on a losing streak lately, and I think it's kind of hurting his character a little bit. So I think WWE needs to get him back on the winning path, because right now he kind of looks like Dean Ambrose was, like looking around, kind of like, well, who am I? Like, what am I doing? So I think they do need to make him win. But real quick, Gilbert, there was a speech in Trenton after that match that Roman had, where Roman takes the microphone and he says, I've loved coming to some of these house shows. It's been so much fun. Trenton, you're awesome. But I will not be, this is probably the last time I will be coming here to Trenton. And fans got confused and they're like, why is he making this announcement? Like, because Roman's contract is set to expire after WrestleMania. So everybody's like, is he retiring? Is he leaving? Is Hollywood taking him? Okay, so Dave Metzler, who's a huge wrestling guy, he reported that Roman Reigns has signed a new deal with WWE, but he will not be doing as many house shows as he was. He's now at the point where he's Hulk Hogan, John Cena, those guys that they don't have to go to all the house shows. They can limit their schedule a little bit down and they can cut it down and do whatever they want to do. But yes, Roman is starting to get tugged by Hollywood. Movies and movie sets are starting to ask for him. He's starting to get popular. Becky Lynch is another name that I've been hearing, that she's getting very popular, that they want to add her to movies and to stuff like that. So I've heard that WWE is pushing Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Becky Lynch towards Hollywood a little bit more. Not trying to push them out of WWE, but at least pushing them and maybe giving them a second career the way John Cena, Batista, and The Rock obviously have had. So Gilbert, do not worry. Your tribal chief has signed a new contract, but it just will be for less shows.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I see Roman in the light of the John Cena, The Rock, but then you just brought up Bautista, and he somehow became a good enough actor.
Yeah.
So I could see a comparison with Bautista.
Yeah. Batista did 007. He was a henchman, but he did what he needed to do. Exactly. He's done.
I can see it. Big guy. You need a big guy in these movies. They could be.
Yeah, the Stupid movie was actually not bad. That one was actually kind of funny.
Laughed at that movie.
Yeah, that one was actually funny. And then obviously Guardians of the Galaxy. Look, he did 3 movies. He did Avengers. He did all kinds of stuff, which I'm really disappointed that Batista's leaving, because I know that with Guardians they could do a lot more. But well, this is obviously breaking news too, because I just saw it. But according to numerous reports, Batista bowed out. They just finished production for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and Batista has announced that he will not be back as Drax.
Wow.
That he will be bowing out of the
breaking news on Compas on the beat.
Yeah, out of the Marvel universe. So very interesting stuff going on. I told you, Gilbert, we had a jam-packed show, and we still have una más. So
yeah, let's get to it. Stop making your poor brother wait. He has more things to say about me.
I know. There you go. So let's get down to Dan and Dago and see what he has cooking.
Man, it is so glorious. And I mean glorious to finally see Gilberto admit he was wrong. As you can tell, I am dressed for the occasion. Check out the fit, as the kids say. I got my American Nightmare shirt. Shout out to Cody Rhodes. I'm so pumped that he's back. And just like he's a nightmare to Seth Rollins, Gilberto is a nightmare to everything you hold dear. So make sure you hide it, tuck it away, make sure he lives under a rock so he can't find it. But he's had another rough week with his opinions. Can I say I'm shocked? No, I am not. But at least he had Bad Bunny's new album to help him get through this slump. Please help my compa out, Benito. And one more thing before we get to Una Mas. Hey, shout out to all the moms out there. You are the true superstars, MVPs. You are all legends. We love you, mamas. We're all mamas, boys and girls. We all love our moms. Okay, now it's time for Una Mas.
Gilbert, when Dan Dago has a mic in his hand, he's very dangerous the way Paul Heyman kind of is. But I got one more quick WWE video for you. I found this pretty funny. I don't know if you will, but it's Randy Orton ducking. I just have fun stuff for you today, Gilbert, because obviously it's a fun day. But watch this.
Hey, what happened, Randy? What happened? Oh!
What is he?
Oh!
Oh.
Hey, what happened, Randy? What happened?
So there was a fight and he just got on the ground.
So like, they're supposed to all gather together and catch whoever's falling out of the sky. Well, Randy's like, I don't want any part of that. So he just stayed in the corner and kind of hid so that they wouldn't see him and he wouldn't have to catch that guy. But I honestly thought it was hilarious because of obviously I got another quick funny video for you, Gilbert. This is former Padres reliever Doug Botchler. He used to steal beers from fans when he was in the dugout, and he would drink them during the games.
Wait, what? What was this?
Take some food. That's a little kind of skit that I do for the fans down in the bullpen.
I'll be pissed.
Comes in with a big jam, bases loaded or something like that, and they play the theme to Mission Impossible. So I'll kind of shimmy along the wall, and sneak up there.
That's pretty good with the music.
And then I'll run back and set it down. And it's something that I've been doing for 3 years now. And the same lady, has never realized what song I do it to.
I thought that was hilarious.
Does the pitcher give back the beer, or is he?
No, he just takes it.
Wow.
So I don't know if he drinks it or not, but I thought that was funny. But yeah, some of the videos that I've had today are hilarious. One final video, and then we get into the last thing I wanted to talk to you about, just real quick. But this is about perseverance, Gilbert. That's what life is about, never giving up. Like John Cena says, look at this girl. Well, let me start this over again. So this girl starts the race. She's down here, over here at the bottom. Yeah. Look at her. She loses her shoe.
Okay.
And look at what happens. Yeah, you can see it. So they have a huge lead on her.
Yeah, she's far back.
Watch. Look at this.
You're going to catch him? You're going to hawk him?
Here she comes. Look at her. Passes up one already.
Which lane is she in?
She's in the fifth lane. Fourth. There she goes. Yeah. Look, she just passed everybody.
That's insane. And shoeless.
No, she went back, put her shoe on, and then took off running.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, that's strategy right there. Like, what?
Look,
do without a shoe.
You'll see her right here. She goes, she puts her there she is.
Oh, I see her
putting
now.
Her shoe back on.
Back.
Isn't it crazy? And she wins. Talk about never giving up. I mean, that's great strategy right there.
I'm bringing some track and field. This is my world.
I know. That's why I'm like, I have to bring it all. But the last thing, I think it's gonna piss off some football fans because it is breaking news. And that's why this segment is called "What is Going Around in the World of Sports." Gilbert, I'm sure you heard about this. Tom Brady signs a 10-year, $375 million contract to be Fox Sports'. I thought he was going to be in studio. No, he's going to be calling the games. So that is pretty interesting.
A lot of money.
Do you remember when Tony Romo signed his contract making, I think, what is he making? $15 million a year.
Yeah.
Everybody was freaking out. Now Tom Brady basically doubled that.
He's never done it before.
and he's never done it before. So, but like this was the funniest part. And again, I'm going to reference the Pat McAfee show, and I don't care. That Ian Rappaport on, and they asked Ian, so Ian, what if the Bucks don't make the playoffs? Like, could Brady be like, hey, I want to start getting paid now. Let me sneak into that booth and let me go in there and start commentating from now. He's like, no, he has to go through the whole summer. But Gilbert, now that I look at it, I think that I mean, obviously Brady is going to be making bank, but wow, like this is a huge power move for Fox Sports, don't you think?
Yeah, and supposedly this contract here is worth more than his playing career money. Like he made $333 million in his career. But the thing that I think comes to mind is like, what if he sucks at it? What if he stinks? Like Drew Brees is not the greatest. Like, and we saw other people try to do. I know we're all quarterbacks, but Jason Witten tried doing the Monday Night Football. He was terrible.
By the way, they're saying that Greg Olsen is in talks right now. There's two solutions. Greg Olsen might be the Fox guy, the number one for Fox right now, and wait till Tom Brady gets there. There's another one where they're saying that Drew Brees might get traded from NBC to Fox, and Drew Brees would be the 1A until Tom Brady retires and gets there. But it's interesting to see the way you usually talk about this stuff on the football field. You don't see trades and movements. Now everything is literally shifted, Gilbert, because look at the landscape now of it. Like everything has changed.
Yeah,
like before
I just don't like that. It's a lot of familiar names. I wanted some fresh blood in there, and it's kind of like, eh.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm excited for Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels on Amazon. Kirk Herbstreit is good, I think.
Yeah, but you know him from college football. Yeah, these are familiar guys, and obviously Al Michaels is a legend.
So you wanted me?
Yeah, sure. For now, you can have on. But yeah, that Amazon, the first one, by the way, Chargers Chiefs, week 2.
Hey, that's gonna, and you know that was the first game announced, right? That's the first.
That threw me off. I probably should have asked Uncle Joe, because he's the guy all about the schedule. He probably gave me a warning. But yeah, dude, I've been kind of waking up, checking the clock every morning just in case the Chargers have another announcement. Like
when they're announcing
Rams and the Broncos, like 5 a.m, man.
You know when they're announcing it at 7 a.m. my time.
Yeah, so I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah,
I need some morning or something. Yeah,
which
I don't know.
Do you think is the worst? I look at NBC. I don't like NBC's. I'm not a big Chris.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I'm over Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
I am too. I'm there.
Well, obviously the one that's new. Like I like Kevin Burkhardt in baseball.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady. So I kind of want to see what happens there. And obviously I still like Romo. I think Romo kind of fell off a little bit. But now with Tom Brady back, it may he's gonna feel that pressure trying to pick up his game.
Yeah, this is interesting. Just the way the whole dynamic is. I don't think Amazon's picked up a Super Bowl yet, but I'm interested to see if Amazon bids for a Super Bowl pretty soon.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be too soon for that for the streaming, but
yeah, because they have.
Direction.
I don't know if you saw, but Richard Sherman has been in talks with gaming. Yeah, he's been in talks with them. I think the lady from Good Morning Football, what's the name from the one from Good Morning Football?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
But Kay Adams.
There you go.
Kay Adams has been in talks with them as well. I think her contract is almost up with NFL Network, so they're getting some play. What's Austin Eckler doing with them? He's doing something though, right?
With who?
Amazon Prime.
I don't know. We got to figure out. He's doing a lot of stuff. He's doing that fans football league.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see. But it's crazy because I feel like we're heading into the streaming route. Because I've been trying to watch some baseball and kind of flip channels, and every time I'm like, oh, there's a Yankees game I'll watch it. It's like it's on Amazon Prime. I'm like, oh, okay.
I've heard that supposedly Apple.
Yeah, that's another one.
What other streaming service? Apple and some other streaming service are going to try and bid when the contracts are up for Fox and CBS.
That's where we're headed, man. Like, I don't have cable anymore. I stream everything.
Dude. I moved in here 2 months ago. I don't have cable at all. That's what pisses me off though. When the Padres play the damn Cubs or they play the Guardians, no, not the Guardians, the Reds, I can't watch the games because they're blacked out on the damn apps. So I can't watch them, but I mean, whatever.
So you're like in your Cleveland and Chicago zone?
Yeah. So right now they're playing the Cubs, and I can't watch them. So I'm like, I'm like, damn it. I'm like, that's what I usually watch before I go to bed because the games are on till about 11 o'clock at night. So I watch that, game over, and then I go to bed.
That's me with the Angels. Like I want to watch Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, and they're always blacked out. The only reason I get to watch Dodgers again because I'm freeloading off my mom's Spectrum. So shout out to the mom.
There you go. Hey, shout out, by the way, shout out to our moms and all the mothers out there for Feliz Dia de las Madres. Obviously, thank you so much for Mama Manzano and my mother for you guys putting up with us and all the craziness that we're doing with working, and then obviously Compas on the Beat and everything. So definitely and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there who listen to Compas on the Beat. We appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, Gilbert, I mean, it's always great to recognize the special loved ones in your life.
Yeah, no, it was a good weekend with my mom. And actually today, we're not late, Fernando. Today is Mexican Mother's Day.
Yeah.
May 10th. So
that's why I didn't say we were late. That's why I said Feliz Dia de las Madres.
Happy Mother's Day.
Good. Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day to Mama Manzano and Mama Ramirez, Fernando, Ramirez, who created you and your brother Dan and Diego. So
yeah, and it's funny, Melissa and I weren't home, so Dan had to pick up the slack over the weekend with my mom. So he was he was the only child. So shout out to Dan and Diego for picking up the slack from Melissa and I, because obviously we're not home, but we'll be home in a couple of days, and the Compas will be reunited, and we'll see what kind of stuff we have up our sleeves. But for now, Gilbert, I know you're busy. I got some stuff I gotta take care of. So for the time being, ¿sabes qué? Vámonos.
Ya nos vamos, pues, vámonos.